The following overview will take you through about 15 years of research and development on immersive visualization in the ocean sciences. With about 1,000 employees distributed across two main campuses, the GeoMar Helmholtz Institute for Ocean Research in Kiel, northern Germany, is one of Europe's preeminent multidisciplinary marine research facilities. It motivates a variety of visualization use cases in the fields of ocean circulation and climate dynamics, marine biogeochemistry, marine ecology, as well as dynamics of the ocean floor. It is particularly the latter field of marine geosciences that has been calling for a concept of virtual fieldwork on the seafloor, enabling scientific studies free from the physical restrictions of the deep ocean environment. This demand was met by substantial previous experience in the field of informal education in museums, planetariums, and digital dome projection systems used in this context. We are going to have a look at a few major projects showing how the two fields were brought together, in a classical planetarium setup, in an inverted low hemisphere dome, and finally in a state-of-the-art tilted dome setup. Concluding, we will have a few final remarks on challenges and benefits of this approach. Thanks to the size and diversity of research activities at GeoMar, we pride ourselves in realizing the entire scientific workflow under one roof. On the example of seafloor studies, this may be sponsoring the scientific idea for a project, let's say a certain eruption style of deep-sea volcanoes. Mounting and carrying out the worldwide research expeditions, including our in-house state-of-the-art marine robotics, post-processing of the ever-growing quantity and quality of samples, but especially of digital data products such as seafloor terrain models, the holistic multidisciplinary interpretation of such datasets, and finally, the dissemination not just in the form of scientific publications, but more generally as a knowledge transfer to all parts of society. Each of these steps comes with its own challenges, such as how to efficiently plan a campaign at sea, deciding on the complex tools that really fulfill the scientific mission, how to control coverage and quality of the gathered seafloor data in real time, how to bring in expertise from colleagues who may not physically be part of the seagoing expedition but be linked to it through a satellite connection, and lastly, how to find strategies and the right media to communicate our findings of a complex and unfamiliar environment on the seafloor. When geologists conduct fieldwork on land, they are most efficient in small groups closely discussing the impressions they get through their own physical presence at the study sites, including distant landmarks, spatial orientation and sequence of geological layers, or the various forms of erosion encountered. In the remote access of the seafloor through diving robots, much of these built-in or educationally hardwired clues and concepts are lost, in exchange for a limited 2D field of view and greatly reduced mobility. Needless to say, many are struggling to build solid mental models on these grounds. Quite similarly, the fields of planetology, astrophysics and cosmology have also traditionally suffered from remoteness of their study objects and lack of everyday analogies. Yet, through planetariums, a unique and powerful astrovisualization medium has developed over the last century. With the advent of clustered, overlapping digital projection technology in the early 2000s, the medium diversified towards a universal natural science theater. The Hayden Planetarium at the American Museum of Natural History not only installed one of the first such visualization systems, but also curated a comprehensive digital atlas of the phenomena to be visualized in spatial and temporal reference to each other. As the atlas grew, they engaged in the software development that would allow to visualize the data in the most intuitive way possible. Would it be possible to replicate or expand this use of dome visualization towards the ocean sciences? In principle, there are a wide variety of immersive visualization environments, such as the Powerwall, multi-projector curved screens, the cave, or a dome. They all cover more or less of the physical environment of the viewers, some even surrounding them. Whereas the cave is highly efficient for individuals, it cannot readily accommodate multiple viewers at once. Domes are particularly strong when it comes to giving groups of viewers a communal sense of presence by filling their field of view in the same way at the same time. But it was obvious that we had to move beyond a mere representation of some content. Our initial vision of an immersive data interpretation workflow foresaw the visualization as a portal, a final step of a processing chain, but one that would allow real-time interaction with the data products, an iterative workflow. Appreciating that hardly any scientific party would always convene in one place, we called for a federated network architecture that would link remote simulators in a concurrent visualization session. Again, there were parallels in the planetarium community. Back in 2007, GeoMar had no coordinated visualization program. To shape interest in such activities, we started with the hardware side. The Geodome was a classic planetarium design with a 6-meter diameter hemispherical screen powered by 2 HD projectors with custom optics offering room for up to 10 people. Originating out of a master's thesis, a geodesic strut system held up the hemispheric canvas inflated by negative pressure. 2 separate graphics clusters each served a state-of-the-art planetarium visualization software suite. The Swedish company Skiss, who had commercialized the AM&H Digital Universe Atlas and software, donated their UniView real-time simulator, which was demoed unmodified. Evans and Sutherland donated their Digistar 3 software, also allowing real-time computer graphics, yet the system was primarily used to play pre-rendered computer animations of volcanological datasets. In addition, we experimented with immersive, so-called full-dome video digitized from custom-produced 35mm footage. At capacity of a master's thesis, original scientific visualizations remained restricted to linear animations of photogrammetrically scanned terrestrial outcrops, their stratigraphic interpretation, and an animated interpretation of volcanotectonics exposed along extensive road cuts. Thus, the primary criticism of the project was A. that it had no interpretative component, thus no perceived added scientific value, and B. that the upwards view at the ceiling was counterintuitive to the geosciences. Consequently, we borrowed the concept of an inverted lower hemispheric screen, or if you want, a bowl-shaped design, from the works of Luc Cochen and conceived the artificial research environment for networked analysis, or ARENA, with a different geometry but the same goals as before. With no prior practical experience with inverted dome screens, we first designed a 5-meter diameter twin HD channel prototype in one of the GeoMar meeting rooms. While the system dramatically reduced the space required in comparison to Geodome, it was obvious that there was a strong relation to body height, rendering 5-meter diameter as insufficient to fill the peripheral field of view. With the general concept confirmed, though, we set out to build a fully fledged 6-meter diameter version of the ARENA, now employing a single-channel WQXGA fisheye projector that greatly simplified the hardware and software setup. Just as the Geodome, the ARENA was a semi-permanent structure, mobile enough even to be transported to the National Oceanography Centre in Southampton, Great Britain, at the occasion of the Marine Imaging Workshop held there in 2014. ARENA employed the open-access software Worldwide Telescope developed by Microsoft Research, which not only offered astronomical but also earth science-related features such as terrain import workflows and georeferenced interactive point cloud visualization. It was used to visualize a broad spectrum of bathymetrical ocean floor maps produced in-house, along with volumetric water column anomalies and hydrothermal plumes. In addition, we showcased various community-contributed geophysical and oceanographical datasets. The main criticism of this project was its lack of annotation features, despite its ability to load and manipulate data at runtime. Moreover, the inverted sphere greatly limited the amount of concurrent viewers and led to frequent simulator sickness. Our latest design, the Arena 2, is by far the most elaborate, resembling a fully equipped immersive visualization laboratory. At its core is a tilted 6-meter diameter fiberglass dome screen. This size allows the replication of a typical field working party of 4 to 6 in the relaxed atmosphere of a meeting room. The rigid dome screen and all the digital projection equipment are suspended from a scaffolding, allowing the flexible adjustment of the dome orientation according to the visualization needs of individual projects. An auto-calibrating 5-channel stereoscopic WQXGA projection system yields a net screen resolution of 4.5K by 4.5K. The projection system is driven either by a dual set of video servers for playback of linear cinematic content or by a real-time graphics cluster of 5 hardware synchronized nodes. This allows the switching between up to 4 monoscopic applications running concurrently on the system, all controlled by a single host console. This leads to a wide spectrum of applications that either already have been implemented successfully or for which there exists a standardized implementation workflow. With a considerable one-time budget and as a reaction to the feedback on earlier simulator designs, we kept the Arena 2 lab as universal, open, and architecturally flexible as possible, in equivalence to a painter's palette of tools at the disposal of scientific applications. Interaction is now massively enhanced by an active motion tracking system. A few of such applications are linear playback of the scientific seafloor footage recorded by in-house developed immersive large-format camera systems. The real-time full-resolution editing of such immersive footage on the dome for science and outreach. Operation of state-of-the-art planetarium software such as OpenSpace, now including our own bathymetric datasets. Genuinely scientific visualization software such as ParaView, running in a native real-time cluster implementation showing ocean current model data. We also work with colleagues from DLR to implement their Cosmos Scout VR digital globe, including volumetric ocean current model rendering and extensive real-time interaction features. All these programs are configured as tiled display walls, with the dome-specific warping and blending implemented separately on the graphics card. This also enables WebGL applications on the dome, such as the Digital Earth Viewer developed in-house at GeoMar, which supports a host of static and dynamic data types, such as, again, ocean circulation model runs. A special commercial pipeline to intercept a buffer of OpenGL applications allows us to display, co-register, and superimpose a host of standard scientific desktop applications. This example shows the photogrammetry package Agisoft Metashape, which is heavily used in seafloor microbathymetry. Recently, we also integrated a cluster version of the Unreal Game Engine version 5.2, even further broadening the scope of possible application scenarios. Summing up, and following van Wyck's definition that a high value of a visualization may be achieved when many users often employ a tool that is readily available, easy and fun to use, we found that we had the most success on workflows that have an extremely low learning curve, that offer a cross-disciplinary platform that catalyzes communication, that create context across scientific domains, that offer versatile applications responding to spontaneous needs and thus offer both real-time graphics and linear movie playback. Most importantly though, all tools must generate added value, ideally even something that can be used right away as a digital supplement to a paper. And this brings us to the still standing criticism that we face. If users cannot interact with, manipulate, query, and annotate their data and receive the results in a quantitative, structured way, they see no benefit for the scientific work. Any of our clients readily attests the applicability for outreach, but this is not our primary goal. What we need is a methodology that is efficient enough to support scientific workflows and intuitive enough to support knowledge transfer. And finally, we learned the hard way that a demo is passively taken up by the audience but does not lead to papers. It is much harder to actually get domain scientists to productively use such a new tool, investing their time and energy. Building on a solid and broad set of tools, we now follow two strategies. We currently set up a workflow that records and organizes a visualization session, allowing to export, quantify, and compare its outcome in a structured way. We call this a digital lab book for visualization workflows, in analogy to geological field notes. We also realize that not everyone can visit Kiel to work with us. Regardless of the application we run, we therefore implemented a method that captures, stitches, and broadcasts our graphics in real time as a 360-degree video stream, which can then be received by other domes or pretty much any other immersive display. And with this, we would like to thank the various academic, commercial, and federal supporters and funding bodies that have made our work possible.